Hi everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the community manager for Blogger. And joining me today for the third or fourth time, not sure, is David
The
Kutcher.
fourth time.
Who's been giving us some awesome tutorials about how you can take your blog to the next level with some template tweaks and some custom HTML. And today he's going to be walking us through how to create a slideshow with your Picasa album. And this isn't just the regular embeddable album that Picasa gives you. I think a lot of people find that to be pretty restrictive because they kind of give you the exact layout and you can't really tweak it very much. But David has figured out how to take the feed from your Picasa RSS feed and then turn it into a really cool um, album slideshow. And you can put it in Blogger or any other site that allows you to change the HTML. And it actually pulls in the captions as the photos change, which is pretty cool. So I'll let you take it away, David.
All right. Well, thank you for the introduction. And yeah, I think this is our third or fourth, so pretty exciting. We keep on plugging away with new and interesting ways we can kind of manipulate your blog or site as well as add new features and functionality. And most of these come from challenges that we've run into when we've been creating custom websites for our clients. And kind of overcoming hurdles as we've gone along. And one of the things that you talked about was the slideshow coming from Picasa, which was a great feature. It just is one that you can't customize. So it's limited in how you can apply it to your website. One of the first things that we needed to do for one of our first clients using a Blogger site was create a really nice slideshow effect, and using the generic tools that it provides you with, we just simply couldn't get that slideshow to fit the design that we needed to. So we started experimenting with a number of different approaches for how to make a slideshow in your website that was still easily managed by a client who's not very tech savvy. We really needed to make it so that our clients weren't going in and editing HTML and CSS and JavaScript in order to update their slideshow, but had easy-to-use management tools that were built in to take advantage of it. We basically started, our first one was using a link list, the default widget in Blogger, to create a link list and transform that link list into a slideshow. So I'm going to do a screen share real quick and show you one example. So this is one of them. I hope that's showing. It's for Ode Boutique, and you'll see that this uses the standard link list as a way of manipulating the slides, each one of the photos in here, and the order that that photo is in. So we're still using Picasa to host our images, but we're using a link list to change the order. So this is one method that we created. The second method that we created was for Pinch Gallery, which we've shown before. This one takes an RSS feed, like we talked about in our last tutorial, and basically changes that RSS feed into a slideshow, and then uses the first image from each blog post to be the background of that slideshow. So this is the second method that we created. The third method is one where we created a blog post, and then we used JavaScript to pull all the photos from that blog post and manipulate them and turn them into a slideshow. So you can see, like, no matter what, we can keep on coming up with new ways of creating slideshows. This last one, which is one we're going to talk about today, is where we've created a Picasa album, and we're using the Picasa tools and album to manage that slideshow. So all of the images in this background here are actually coming from a Picasa album automatically. So that's the one we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to turn off screen share for a sec. So slideshows, as you can see, there's tons of different ways to do them. It really comes down to what your needs are and what you're attempting to do, and how you need to fit it into that website. So in the Google Plus window for this discussion, I just posted a link which has all the instructions that we're going to be going through today. But essentially, it starts with a Picasa album. So I'm going to go to screen share again. So this is a Picasa album that I've created. Pretty sure that almost anyone that uses Blogger is familiar with Picasa. And if not, Picasa is where your images are stored when you upload an image to your blog posts. So it's all stored in a Picasa album. Picasa is another Google product. So what you can do is you can create an album in Picasa, and you can upload images to that album. Each image, you can actually add a caption to it. So right down here, you'll see I've created an image, and I've added a caption. This was actually from a vacation I took last week. And you can add captions to it. And going back here, we now have an album that has 6 photos. Within this, you can also organize the order of your photos. Simply by dragging and dropping, you can reorder the photos. You can do default sorts. Basically, you can change the order. And this is what we're going to be using to change the order and change the captions of the slideshow images that we're going to be creating. Let's see. So once we've created our Picasa album, and this is the blog post that I've linked everyone to, you can then go and do things such as, well, I already talked about the captions. You need to change the permissions of the album that you've set. So going back to the album, you'll see up in this corner where it says public on the web. That's something that I actually already changed. The default visibility is only you, or limited anyone with this link. So in order for this slideshow to work, it needs to be public on the web. All these images need to be available to anyone to see. You can add a description if you want, place taken. It's not important, but you can do it, and save changes. So now you'll see also that you can already link to this album. If you wanted to, you could get the default embed slideshow code, or you can grab an RSS feed. Interestingly enough, most Google products have an RSS feed generated, whether it's Google Docs, Picasa, you name it. You can almost get an RSS feed for any Google product that I know of. So it might give you some ideas for things in the future, such as a calendar and implementing that in your website, but all sorts of things. So now once we have the album all set up, and going back to that post that I submitted, the code. Now I'm not going to basically expect you to look at the code in this window, but if you want to pull it up based on the link I sent, you can. In this, what we're doing is a number of things. We're using JavaScript, in particular jQuery, to grab your feed from your Picasa album. And what we're doing from there is we're getting all the images that you've put in there, and we're grabbing that in a way such as an RSS feed, and then we're going to be using JavaScript to parse that out. So what we're doing is we're creating a series of arrays, and we're saying, okay, well, for each entry, for each photo in that RSS feed, we're going to grab the slide, the caption, the height and width of each photo. And we want to do that so that we can make it fit our Picasa, our slideshow correctly. We also have variables that we've set up, such as the speed for the fade in, the speed for the fade out, and the pause between each one of your slides. Now, you'll see I broke this URL down into a number of components, but that's mainly so I could have it so that you can easily customize it. Picasa album comes from your email address, so this would be my email address to pull my album, and the album title. So for example, this would be, the URL will include my email address at gmail.com, the Picasa album, which in this case is test photos. The max dimension of my slideshow, so in this case I'm making a dimension of 500 pixels, and how many results that you want. For example, you can do the first 8 results, the first 5 results, the first 20 results. It doesn't matter. After that, we're basically generating your slideshow. What this is doing is it's going to grab the first image and use that as the first image in the slide. And then after a pause, it's then going to go on to the next image in the array and slide it in and slide it out and move on to the next one. Down here, what we've done is we've set up two divs, which are basically an HTML element, which are where the information is going to get sent. So for example, the image in your slideshow is going to become the background for the div slideshow. And the caption information that you've put in is going to fill in for the div ID caption. You can put these two divs anywhere into your blog template, anywhere into a blog post, anywhere into anywhere. So you can basically customize this to go anywhere within your blog post or blog site. And then using the style information here, you can customize it to be whatever size you want, whatever dimensions you want, and whatever position you want. So we've tried to make essentially the most flexible slideshow that we could possibly make for you that allows you to manage it just in your Picasa web album. What this generates is a slideshow like this. So as you'll see, there's actually a area in here that is 500 pixels by 500 pixels, a nice big square. And then what we're doing is we're sliding in and out a photograph that in our code goes to the maximum dimension. So if it's a horizontally aligned photograph, it'll max out the horizontal side and center it vertically. And if it's a vertically aligned photo, it'll max out the vertical alignment and then center it left and right. And then down below, you'll see the caption. And the caption is just pulling and getting the information that we've used and put into the Picasa album, and it's dynamically putting it into that caption area. I don't know if anyone has used this before, but this is actually in the Chrome browser. You have development tools under Inspect Element, and this allows you to actually see the HTML code pretty well. So you can also see my style information for each one of these, and you can manage and manipulate it accordingly if you like. But as a development tool, it's a very handy thing to use. And in a very quick tutorial, that's how we make slideshows.
Cool.
I'm assuming there's going to be questions because I blew through that in about 15 minutes.
Well, I did just post for people who weren't able to figure out where the website that David posted, the blog post that he wrote up to basically give a very thorough run-through of everything we just talked about. If you go to the event page, it's listed under official website. You should be able to link to this post. I think that we might have a couple of questions, but I noticed a couple of people were confused about whether or not why Google Plus photos were stored in Picasa and why Blogger photos are stored in Picasa. And the reason for that is, Picasa is the main photo storing service that Google provides. It was actually acquired by Google a few years back, and we've, as with any other Google products, we've been trying to integrate them so that they all work closely together. So rather than having a different photo service hosting photos for each of your products, we just store them all in the same place. And that's why if you post images on your blog, on Blogger, then those images are also stored in Picasa.
Are there any more questions or comments from the audience? Or
let me just take a quick look here.
There was actually, we actually posted this earlier to our site, and one of the people who visits that site had grabbed the code, and I believe in about 15 minutes had set up the slideshow on their own website. So it was pretty funny to see how quickly someone was able to integrate it.
And did they have any troubles with manipulating the code at all, or was it pretty straightforward for them? So. Okay. Well, I think, yeah, I think most people who've had a little bit of experience with HTML should probably be able to figure out. But if you've absolutely never done it before, I mean, David provides a pretty set, snippet of code, and we just kind of walk through the different steps on how you can change each of the parts that are specific to your album. And I highly encourage you guys to. This video is gonna appear on YouTube, and so you should go back and rewatch some of the parts to make sure that where everything goes. And also, David will. I'm not going to speak for him, but he generally continues to monitor the thread even after we're done with the Hangout. So if you have any questions or if you get completely lost, you can ask. And oh yes, one more thing. Highly urge you to, if you've also never had experience, messing with your HTML, to export a copy of your template before you make any changes, so that in case things get screwed up, you can always re-import that back into your blog.
Always make backups.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's it. I haven't seen any questions, so I'm just gonna assume that people need to try this out, and once they do make an attempt at it, then they'll be able to see if there are any issues.
There's also, if anyone's interested and takes a look at their RSS feed for Picasa, there's lots of different things in there, and lots of other information that's contained, such as location information for your photos, what you shot it with. Picasa basically captures a lot of information from those photos, and you can pull that information just in the same way that I pull that information, or a limited set of that information. So you can actually delve into the RSS feed and grab more details than what I've been using if you're interested in experimenting. There's lots of things in there. So like if you want to say, oh, well, show me, what camera shot this photo, or show me the date and timestamp of that photo when it was actually created, you can pull all that information. So if you want a really detailed slideshow, you can make a very detailed slideshow. All depends on kind of what your needs are. But this, like I said, is just one example of how to do a slideshow. The other approaches, I might be posting them onto the website as well. I just found that this is actually one of the easiest methods of both customizing a slideshow to put in your website, but also having those really easy management tools available to you that just come from Picasa, which, as you know, it essentially comes with Blogger. So if you're familiar with where your photos are going, you can use this as well.
Is this the only option that allows your clients to be able to manage the photos that appear, or was there another one that allowed that as well?
The other one, which uses the link list. So once I've given the other administrators access to the blog, they have access to change all the contents of any of the widgets that are actually in the blog. So that also gives them the ability to change the link list information that's in there. And in that case, basically all they're doing is grabbing the URL of each individual image that they want to use in their slideshow and giving it a caption, and then setting the order. So that's just a different method. But sometimes even that's a little complex for them, hence this Picasa version where they don't have to know things like that. It simplifies it even more.
Are there any limitations of this Picasa, or this last option, that users might want to be aware of that might require one of the other ones?
So this one doesn't allow you to set a correspondence between an image from a slideshow and a blog post. So this is purely for images and the image captions. They're not tied into a blog post specifically, so it doesn't have that ability to cross-reference. Whereas with some of the other ones, what we've done is in a link list, it would give you the, let me pull it up real quick. So for example, for this one, you only have two fields to use in the link list. One is the name and one is the URL. So one of the ways we've gone around it is that we've told the client to use the blog post URL as in the name field, and the URL of the image in the URL field. it's not exactly user-friendly in that sense, or just, I guess it's not very user-friendly, but it's a way of getting around that. But like I said, you're only limited to 2 fields, so you couldn't, for example, have a caption, a link to the blog post, and the image URL, because you only have 2 fields. So this is kind of why we've had to come up with different solutions for different projects. In other projects, we've actually created a Google Docs spreadsheet, which allowed us to have an unlimited number of fields to use as the slideshow generator, just because we needed it to be doing so many different things for different aspects of not just a slideshow, but a slideshow, a caption, a larger description, a link to where it was supposed to go, a link, information about where that project was located. So we needed a whole variety of fields for each slideshow entry. So that option didn't work. So we'd have to develop a whole nother solution for that project in particular. But basically it just comes down to trying to figure out what the right piece is for each different project, and applying, okay, well, we've done this kind of slideshow, that kind of slideshow. At the heart of it, they're all slideshows, but how you get the content and fields that you need into each one, I guess, determines which avenue we've been going. But yeah,
okay.
Lots of different slideshows.
I had my volume turned off, but I just noticed someone mentioned in comments that the link didn't work. I think when I pasted it, there were some extra characters, so I've changed it, and so hopefully it should work now. All right, I think we're good. If there are any questions, please do feel free to leave comments for us, and Dave and I will take a look at this, and we'll also be posting the video along with a summary of what we talked about today later on in the week.
Sounds good. If anyone has questions, please feel free to leave them there. I'll get back to them as quickly as I can, and check out the link for the instructions for how to go about adding the slideshow to your website.
Oh, actually, I do remember a question that someone asked just now. Is this something that you can embed into other sites or other blogs like WordPress?
Probably. I don't see why not. It does use the API, I believe, so there might be some limitations there in parsing out the original URL of the RSS feed, but you can get around that with a few minor changes.
Okay.
But it is possible.
So this is made specifically for Blogger, but it's possible that it works with WordPress requiring a few small tweaks.
Exactly.
Okay, great. All right, David, thanks again. We'll be looking out for more updates on your blog to see when we can get you back here for more tutorials via Hangout. Okay, well, hope everybody has a nice day. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.